Hello everyone, I'm back with another video for you today. It's been a long time since I said that. I have been in Warsaw, I've been chilling out with Panda, if you know him, he's one of the Gwent casters, and I've just been kind of laying low a little bit, not really streaming, making videos, etc. I have been playing a lot of games. I've been playing Gwent and Teppen predominantly, and right now I'm focusing pretty much only on Gwent. And I figured since I'm doing that, I may as well make a couple of videos. I probably won't be streaming as often as I used to, because I'm not on a team anymore, that's sponsoring me to stream effectively, unfortunately. But I can make videos, and I don't think that'll interfere too much with kind of the pro ladder grind and preparing for World Masters, which is kind of what I've been doing and what I will continue to do for the next couple of months. So yeah, I'm going to be back. We'll see how long that lasts, but I'll definitely try to pump out a few videos. I have some thoughts on the meta, card balance, stuff like that. So stay tuned for those kind of videos. I didn't want to jump straight into criticism. I figured I'd, roll in, back into your subscription box with a deck guide, which I'm sure you're, familiar with at this point. This one is going to be a poison deck, which, poison Scoia'tel deck, which is something that's not particularly crazy or different in, if you've been actually keeping up with the Gwent meta. And this one's pretty interesting because it actually only pulls out units which have, 8 provision cost or less, which is a bit unusual for Call of Harmony. Usually you want that to be kind of up to 12, so you can pull things like Feign Death, and Vernociel, or whatever the elven guy is called, this guy. But, instead we're running it at a lower provision, amount, and what that means is you're able to run kind of a better bronze core and, arguably even golds as well. You can run stuff like morale. You're not so focused on harmonizing, and you're more focused on sort of poison, with Forest Whisperer, Dryad Ranger, stuff like that, and you're still able to pull some pretty nasty combos. You can actually instantly poison a unit by pulling poison card while playing one from hand as well with your leader. And you can also play Etriel Mirlega, which is a very powerful combo against a lot of decks. If you don't draw both of those in hand, you can do that. Alternatively, you've of course got Isengrim and Yavin, which are both really powerful long-term cards, big plays which synergize with a board full of elves, so that's what you're going for with Rodea and Feign Death. And I'm hoping, if you're watching this video, you are up to date on kind of where the meta's at. Maybe I should have gone with like a little overview of the meta before jumping straight into a deck, but whatever. We'll walk through the gameplay as always, and yeah, should be good. So really the idea of the deck is just long round value with elves, poison to deal with big units, and to, maybe stop yourself getting bled, or punish the bleed, or even win round 1 with the poison. And then round 3, you've got some kind of nice little cheeky combo with your leader, and of course Rodea, Scenario, Elves, and all that stuff. So just a pretty good Rodea deck, and we'll see how it performs on the pro ladder. Let's go. Alright, let's jump into the first game. We're actually going to be up against Mobilization, which tends to be a Northern Realms leader that I haven't, seen too much these days. It's mostly pincer maneuver. Mobilization was quite popular in the early days of this patch, I think, but not so much anymore, so we'll have to watch out for the artifact. One thing I'm not running is Bomb Heaver in this deck, which is definitely a card you should consider, and probably should even run. Artifacts are very, very popular, particularly the scenarios, right? That a lot of people are playing, so you got to watch out for those, or at least, play around them in some way, if you're able to, maybe with bleeding, or, something like that. But okay, let's mulligan Aileron, and then we can probably get rid of a card that's going to be useful later on, so maybe the Dwarven Chariot. That's, not a terrible bronze card to top deck, especially with stuff like Oak. So getting rid of that's probably a good idea here. Alright, opponent's going to open with the Mauler. We probably want to go with Mountain Elite to open things, because that card can be a little bit tricky to get value from if you leave it too late. So, we can just take that and then maybe think about playing Avalak and sort of pushing a bit more, depending on what happens. So you do have the Magic Lamp, so they can't really, protect an engine. But that does mean we maybe miss out on a bit of poison value if we want to go for that in round 1. Also not running Vernociel, which is a little bit questionable as well. Another one of those cards that you could definitely consider in the deck if you wanted to. Alright, so it looks like we're getting pretty decent frost value, so I think I'm going to just go for that now with the Avalak. You know, it's 8 points here effectively. It might even be a little bit more if he goes for some card on the front row, which is, you know, entirely possible. So we'll just go for that. We have Nature's Rebuke to deal with another Enchantress play, so that's cool. And we'll just try to put a bit of pressure on. If we can win the round, that would be very ideal. Don't particularly want to play into a big siege in round 3 or potentially get bled and have the elf combo kind of separated. Definitely one problem with this version of the deck is not being able to pull the scenario with your leader. Is going to mean you're a little bit draw dependent, and that can definitely be something that, you know, punishes you in a fair amount of games. So, you know, you can consider running the sort of standard 12 you know, Call of Harmony version if you feel like it. It might even be better. I've played with both and they feel kind of similar. Maybe this deck's a little bit more high rolly. Okay, so we're just kind of chilling out right now. We could try to get ahead, but it doesn't really look like we have any plays that actually do that. So I think Dwarven Skirmish is fine here. Just get rid of it. Gonna leave the 6 alive in case we want to use poison, but not really feeling like that's an amazing target. Could have used it to get some more harmony value on the Dryad Ranger, but actually Redanian Elite's going to present, you know, a little bit of a better target for that poison, so we can actually probably think about doing that now. We may as well go with Forest Whisperer first. It's a little bit less valuable than the Dryad Ranger, and if, you know, if they choose to deal with the poison in some way, we don't want to waste that damage on armor. You know, we want to save that for a different unit. Potentially. So we'll poison that, and this might even, you know, entice him to pass. Looks like not going to be the case. He's just going to keep playing. So that gives us a nice play to get ahead with Dryad Ranger, and we can potentially even force some, you know, stronger cards out of them. We don't really have any follow-up plays after that, apart from maybe, you know, just playing more bad cards, possibly, or you know, we can think about maybe even leadering and going quite in, although that's a bit risky. You know, the opponent's going to have a pretty strong siege combo later, so if the bleed is unsuccessful, or if, you know, we end up not getting the leader out of them, then that could be a bit of a dangerous spot. But okay, we're actually going to force the Falibor here. That's quite a powerful card, obviously. So not too bad. Does mean we're quite behind in points though, and that's a bit troublesome because we'd quite like to win the round and not have to deal with the siege, but it looks like we don't really have too many options. We could play and actually use the Redea, or we could even commit sort of this big play plus our leader for the Muriel, but I'm not really feeling like that's a good idea right now. Yeah, maybe just playing Fledgling and then committing Redea if we need to is an idea. Probably though, just passing is going to be just as good or better than that. A little bit scary if they run sort of Caretaker and they can double siege, or if they're Draug. But we're kind of hoping that they're going to be just a siege deck with that mobilization and no Draug as well, but. You know, it's a bit of a risk to pass here, and it might even be better to just, you know, go in a little bit, but we'll see. In theory, we're not super vulnerable to being bled because we have the poison. We can maybe commit our combo if needs be. Let's get rid of Sappers. This card is not particularly good. We've drawn kind of all the parts of the puzzle that we need to draw, so that's really nice. We could even think about keeping this if we're a little bit afraid of Ailerin, which I think I am, so I'm going to hold on to this hand. It's not too bad. Hopefully it can resist bleeding if the opponent goes for that. Gonna be in a Dahlia. Okay, so probably Draug is on the cards right now for the opponent, which, you know, is potentially okay. We might be able to deal with that with the Etrial Call of Harmony combo. It's a little bit troubling because they're going to be able to have that leader plus siege play in round 3, which is very, very scary. But alright, let's just start things slow with a Dread Fledgling. Of course, want to get the harmony value if we do end up committing this really big play. Definitely it's something that can deal with the Revenants if he doesn't play around that. And he's actually going to fill up this row it seems like. So we might just want to fetch the oak now and have that as, you know, an option. It might have been best to play in the ranged row actually here. You've got to be a little bit careful not to fill your row up too much with Feign Death and stuff like that. Okay, so it looks like he's committing pretty heavily. We might just want to develop the Rodea to answer that stuff. Alternatively, yeah, maybe having oak in hand is good and useful. We don't want to kind of overcommit before they have shown that they're, you know, going in with big plays. So let's just chill and sit back for now. And we'll see if we can pull off this counter combo. Leaving him with only a couple of Revenants alive probably will put us in a decent spot to win this round. The question is whether or not we get the leader from him and whether or not that's a problem going forward. So probably they're playing Rodea as well. You would imagine that's most likely what's going on. So the Draug is committed, and I think we can go with this cheeky combo to deal with all but one of the Revenants. That seems like a good idea right now. If we're able to then hold on to the Feign Death Rodea shenanigans, that'd be really nice, but not gonna be too hopeful about that for now. So probably we can afford to go on the back row here with everything for the oak value. It might be a little bit better to go on front. Depends where we want to play Feign Death. Aileron will pop out on the front row eventually, so you know that front row will fill up pretty quickly with a lot of elves. So I think I'm going to go on the back to be a little bit safe, you know. But let's definitely commit this. We're probably going to get a card from him here. The Harmony procs twice as well, and of course if we don't do this we end up being in a bit of trouble potentially against the Revenants, the Draug. So we'll see if we can translate this one card advantage into you know, something profitable in round 3. We're a bit scared of committing the Rodea combo this round. That might be a little bit too expensive. Definitely if we don't have that and he has leader in the next round, we're going to run into difficulties. Alright, so you've still got this pesky Revenant alive. We could just choose to kill that with the Nature's Rebuke. I'm not a huge fan of doing that though. I was going to fall behind quite significantly in terms of points, and we're not going to be able to actually gain the card that we kind of leveraged you know, for already. So I'm kind of thinking about morale. It does play into Prince and saves a bit. The alternative might be just committing the Rodea. But you know, maybe morale is the way, and just loot. Yeah, Anses is really bad if he does do that. You know what? I think Dragoon. This is a tricky one, isn't it? Maybe it is Rodea and just say that okay, in round 3 we're gonna have kind of limited options, but that's life. I think that might be the way to go here. And he might end up bleeding himself, you know, a little bit. We might be able to play the Yavin, for example. Or Feign Death. This is really not ideal. Morale would kind of be the preferred play in this situation, but as I said, yeah, a little bit too risky, and it wouldn't have actually got us ahead either. So I think Rodea is just the way. Oh wow, he's actually gonna commit his leader here. That's really good news. I was very worried about a siege potentially coming out, but it looks like double King Cobra is in fact the play, which is interesting to say the least. Okay, we've got to be a bit cautious here, because of course Revenant's still alive, plus Sabrina, that is representing a lot of value that the opponent might have. That being said, I think probably committing the Feign Death here is okay. Yeah, it doesn't seem too shabby. We want to kind of enable this Oak and allow it to kill the Revenant and potentially gain us a card, plus this will be, you know, a lot of points. Is it going to be enough to get ahead? I'm not actually sure. How many points is it? 3 plus further, yeah, it's 9 plus 4, 13 plus 5, so it will get ahead. And I think with that in mind, it's probably worth playing right now. If he has a Bomb Heaver, he'll want to Bomb Heaver anyway as well before playing the big Sabrina play. A little bit risky, maybe, but you know, we can maybe answer Sabrina with kind of a big Yavin, and okay, it's going to be Bomb Heaver, so That means we have a little bit of time here to play kind of a weaker card, which is really a good feeling. And I think that's going to be Nature's Rebuke, yeah. We could play Oak, but I think that's a bit of an overcommitment at this point. We're kind of just interested in using bad cards while we can now. Get rid of things like Yaven, which are going to be bad without the elves on the board. And definitely getting bled with this deck is not really the situation you want to find yourself in. It's much better if you're able to win round 1 using something like morale and poison value. Okay, he's actually got a lacerate, so maybe no Sabrina. How many elves do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That means the Yaven is not quite enough to get ahead, unfortunately. Which is quite sad. We could just say that, you know what, mate, we're not going to gain the card here. But I don't particularly want to do that. I think it's probably better to commit Oak and keep the card. Morale is going to become a bit of a tricky play to kind of use. You know, the later we get into this round, and of course Yaven, not particularly good in round 3 without elves. It's definitely a reason you might consider running Vernociel. But we'll see, maybe this guy's going to be greedy for his card and play on. No, it looks like not. So we've got, you know, not the best hand here. We might have to mulligan away Yaven, which is quite sad. It's unfortunate that it wasn't quite enough there to, you know, to break ahead. Maybe even playing that over Nature's Rebuke would have been a good idea. But, you know, hard to say. I mean, he is potentially not even a terrible card. You've got to assume the elves will probably get answered, though. So I'm going to get rid of him and just play a little bit cautiously here. Alright, I'm kind of okay keeping King Cobra around for the simple fact that he might actually kill my morale, and then King Cobra will be the one to kind of pick up the pieces. It might be good, though, to get rid of the Marauder. He's looking a little bit weak here, unless I draw into potentially the Treant. Okay, but Treant means we can do kind of a lot of poison shenanigans, so that's, you know, not too bad news. Let's just play Sappers. He won't likely have anything that can really, you know, interact with that. Purify. I mean, I suppose he could have more poison since he was running King Cobra, which is very strange for, you know, a Northern Realms deck. Okay, so I think the next play is probably Isengrim. If he does kill both of them, it's not the end of the world, because we, you know, he's already used Philippa, so it's unlikely he can in the first place. And, you know, then we potentially can get more harmony value if he kills the elves. A little bit vulnerable to Scorch or something very weird that the opponent could have, but I think it's okay. We'll play here in case of Trebuchet or Siege. And just keep it rolling. And yeah, we've got a lot of poison here, so hopefully that'll treat me well. Not really any targets for the poison at the moment, which is unfortunate. So maybe let's just play the Dragoon. And if he has a Trebuchet, you know what, that's fine by me. I think it's maybe not the card I need to play around right now. Alright, there's actually going to be a Revenant play. That's going to be, you know, getting him a fair amount of points, which is a bit of a pain. I think it's probably time for Morale. Morale does, you know, represent a bit of a vulnerability in terms of Prince and Says, but there's not much I can do to get around that, unfortunately. Just going to poison this and then go from there. A couple of poison cards and we're ahead by, you know, a reasonable amount of points, so we're looking okay. Alright, so I think it's probably worthwhile killing the Revenant, although you've got to ask the question, will he have a way now to set up that Revenant? It might be more points to actually deal with the Caravan Vanguard. Bit of a tricky decision. I think in this situation I'm in a very good spot if I just kill the Revenant. I should have enough points to win regardless of what he's got. Let's think he could have Baron. But we're gonna be, you know, we're gonna be having a 9-point play. So the most you can have is kind of like a 7 or an 8. So I think we should be in a pretty good spot to win. Yeah, that should be fine. A little bit of a risk, I suppose. I'm just trying to think of what card he could have that actually beats Weeping Willow, and I think he's used pretty much everything that can beat this final play. So this is why I'm a little bit more happy to actually go for that. There is the Baron, and we do actually beat that. Just about. Very close. I forgot about Ronvid and didn't calculate that, but there we go. Going to be a close win. A little bit scary, the bleed from Northern Realms there, but we do manage to beat the Drow deck with that nice little combo. Yeah, very cool stuff. Alright guys, thanks a lot for watching. That's going to be all for today. I don't think there's time anymore to play 2 games. The game length has increased quite a lot recently. I'm not entirely sure why that is, but let me know if you do want to, 2 games per video, or if you'd rather have more kind of decks showcased. I think probably playing 1 game will be better in terms of allowing me to make more videos, but if you'd really prefer to have 2, then do let me know in the comments. But yeah, the deck will be in the description of the video as well, if you want to try it out. But hopefully I gave you a little bit of an insight into how to play this deck and what it can do, the potential of it. It might not be the best Call of Harmony deck or even Scoia'tel deck, but it's a fun one, and it's pretty interesting and an interesting take on this faction, I think. Alright, stay tuned for more videos. I'm going to be posting all sorts of stuff again and getting into the groove, hopefully. We'll see how long it lasts, and I'm cautious of promising anything, but yeah, thanks a lot for watching, guys. I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Bye.